Welcome to another edition of Courageous Conversations Live. I'm your host, Pierre Quinn, and here on Courageous Conversations, we leverage the stories of leaders, of entrepreneurs, of creatives to help you live and lead with greater courage. Joining me on this episode of Courageous Conversations Live, I'm a little jealous because he's sitting in the sunshine as I'm sitting in the studio. But joining me on this edition of Courageous Conversations Live is Mr. Bakar Bey. Bakar, thanks for being my guest today.
Hey, thanks for the invitation, Pierre, and appreciate you sharing your platform in order to help others reach others. I don't know
Absolutely.
how else to put that.
Yeah, man, that's perfect. That's absolutely the name of the game here on Courageous Conversations Live. So if you're watching this live, or if you're watching the replay of this, hop in the comment section. We love to do shout outs. And if you got if you have a question for Bakar during the course of our conversation, feel free to throw that in and we will answer it as best as we can. As you see, the title and topic for this conversation is Lead with Accountability. Okay, Bakar, give us a snapshot, man. The 30-second, the elevator pitch, the Cliff Notes version. Tell us about, who you are and what you do.
Outstanding. So, hey, my name is Bakar Bey. I am a transformational personal development and accountability coachship and lifestyle design and development. One of the things that I was launched me into this space was just recognizing there's a need for people to have education beyond the classroom. And so, I've been on a mission as an engineer, as an educator, also as a father, to bring that education and wisdom to people in their homes every day for accountability.
So give me the story, man. What led up to this point? How do you go from a training in engineering to the spot where now you are really unlocking people and helping them to be more accountable through coaching and through your programs? What's the story?
All right. So I do I'm starting a program or a series on my Instagram called Candid Conversations. Right. And it's where I also share and get people to tell their stories as well as my own. So my story is I was a little kid who was diabolical, to say the least. Sharp mind, who really just enjoyed learning, studying the world around me, and going through school, I realized at some point going into college that I wanted to design for people. Like I wanted to create better people in this world. I wanted people to live better quality lives. So I applied for, engineering, architecture, and psychology. And as you can imagine, nobody had a curriculum for that. Right. So I found myself in independent study, found a way into engineering, ended up graduating with a aerospace degree and realized that wasn't my passion. So hey, there's rocket scientists. I can check that off, but I don't know what to do with that anymore. Um, Went back to school because I came out at the end of 2009 when they were cutting programs
Mm-hmm.
in space and aerospace. That the companies, not like 2020, but they were reducing the work that they had there as well. So went back to school for industrial systems engineering and really found a love for human factors. So being able to learn how to design for people, manufacturing processes, quality processes, and then actually had a back door into finishing my master's to a PhD program in engineering education. So for me, I discovered a love for being able to create an educational system that's better for
Mm-hmm.
people, even though the program was more focused on designing better education for engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was focused on the action of engineering education more so than educating engineers. Even though I think engineers are going to be a huge part of our future as well as educators. So that was what directed me down this course. And then I went out to industry and realized I was never a fit. I'm a terrible employee, right? I'm loyal.
Yeah.
I'll stay there until you get rid of me most of the time. But I realized that, man, I was going to have to craft a plan for myself. So being able to leverage places where I worked in order to, whether it was by time, whether it was, to generate some additional income, to learn more than anything, learn things that I didn't know and apply it. Because as an engineer, I'm not just about the theological, the theoretical, but applying it to everyday life. And I think with this new habit to greatness, this new accountability program, it gives me that opportunity to not only build systems for people's lives, uh, but to do it every day with them, right? To really model it like an educator would from that standpoint, to show them, hey, this was 15 years of me figuring out how to put my life in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because I was one of those who, with big vision, with big goals, with big dreams, and saying, man, we could save the world together,
Hmm.
but I need help.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
won't be able to do it on my own. And how do you lead people in that direction? So for me, it's just been a journey of life, right? Finding my place, finding a space where I can be free, I can be fulfilled, I can be, uh, and really live out my core values.
Hmm.
And once it clicked for me, man, all I need to do is finish the piece. So all of the pieces really started to come together as I was able to let go and, get out of the jobs and the things that weren't really serving me. Like, oh man, I could do well in these positions, but I'm not seeing the return. I'm not feeling the alignment.
Hmm.
I recognize education and coaching were places where I could give my all the time, and it not take from me, but also, continue to feed and pour into me. So, um, yeah, that's where the accountability room came out. And it was something that I needed. I joined Eric Thomas's 120 conference because he was saying, hey, if you need something, if you need to complete stuff that you haven't started, come to this conference. And my word for this year in 2021 was finish.
Mm.
Right. I learned a whole lot. I'd studied a whole lot. I'd mapped out all of these things I wanted to do, and nothing seemed to be finished. So this year, my focus is on producing from all of that content, knowledge, and things that I've gathered. And man, after a month, it just clicked. It just came together. I met the right people, and this thing just taking off now.
So, man, Bakar, talk to me about how accountability actually unlocks creativity and unlocks leadership. I know you've talked to a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people as well, who, and as you mentioned, visions, dreams, immensely talented, tons of ideas. But even for some of them, when it's time to be accountable to somebody, when it's time to put your money where your mouth is and show your work, they lean away from that. So why is it that some of us lean away from accountability, and why is accountability such a catalyst for actually doing the stuff that we talk about doing?
That's a great question. So, how does accountability unlock creativity? Um, Here's what I'm finding out: that people actually do want accountability.
Hmm.
They just haven't done accountability, right? Accountability that values who they are, what they want out of life, right? It's one thing to walk into your job and have accountability and you're doing what the job asks of you, but it's not taking care of you as a person. It's not taking care of you and your spiritual needs. It's not taking care of you and your emotional needs,
Hmm.
right? You're sacrificing who you are in order to be accountable to a system that wasn't designed for you.
Hmm.
So what we do is we flip that model. We're eliminating the idea of setting goals.
Hmm.
Let the goals go, right? Because goals, they give you this big picture, you run towards them, but then you run out of steam because you run out of motivation, because you don't have support, you don't have, you're not getting the recognition, you don't have accountability in those. And so where I found accountability being the keys, when I wake up every morning, I just reflected on, like, when I was teaching. When I woke up every morning and I knew I had a class to serve, that drove me to do so much more for them, right? And I'm one of those people, man. I'm about serving others, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's a very human quality that many of us will do a lot more for others. As they say, that will put on um their gas mask, or what do they call the things? They'll
Oxygen
put the
mask.
mask on, the oxygen mask. There you go. Put
Yeah.
the oxygen mask on someone else before they do it themselves. And so, man, I recognize for me, when I had eyes on, when I had somebody that was depending on me to show up, to provide, and to serve them in ways that actually impacted their lives,
Hmm.
um, it drove me to do so much more. And so what I decided was, man, I need accountability in the morning to keep up with my morning routine, to launch into the day, and I need accountability in the evening to set my day for the next day.
That's
And
good.
that's what I established. Just started there. It said, hey, I need accountability twice a day, every day, no days off. And when I'm commitment to myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to put it out there, see who else needs it.
Mm.
And we
Hmm.
started with a room of 10 or 15 people in the morning, another 10, 15 people in the evening. And now we've got, consistently 20, 25 people showing up every day for themselves, right? Doesn't have anything to do with me, but recognize that, man, when I have eyes on, it moves me to want to have something to say, something to show, right? That I can't
Yeah.
show up with nothing. And that's oftentimes what we're doing when nobody is showing that, man, I love you, I care enough for you to at least show up for you, to say, hey, what have you done today? And so instead of setting far off goals, man, we focus on building daily habits, right? That's the key to the whole system. What we're working on is building daily habits, and daily habits that serve you, daily habits that align with your values, daily habits. So we're doing some deep work in the coaching space
Yeah.
to unpack the identities, the beliefs, the behaviors that have been driving us and shifting them, right? We're not changing what you do. It's just replacing what you've done when triggered with a habit that serves you. And that accountability, I mean, I'm seeing had a guy just say this morning, man, I got a promotion. I've been in this accountability 2 days. I got a promotion, right, in my job. Like that kind of shift. Like, oh man, I showed up for myself 2 days in a row, and I'm seeing results greater than I've done like in the last 10, 15 years. What's the difference?
Hmm.
It's up for you. So that's where I realized, man, I'm gonna be an old man sitting in the chair, waking up and doing morning and evening accountability calls, because that's what I'm gonna need the rest of my life. And I
Yeah.
hope that there's more and tens and hundreds and thousands of people who find some value in it as well moving forward.
You
It's no small mission.
yeah, you can you share a little bit about how comforting it is for people who have been a part of the accountability process for you and the platform that you're developing and creating, how comforting and supporting it is to know when someone says, "Oh, I'm not good at X," or "I struggle with that with Y," to hear somebody else say, "Yeah, that's a struggle for me too." Like that's an area of growth for me too, and being able to find some solidarity and support in that regard.
Oh man, I'm glad you bring that up, because for me, being in being in the room, and it's almost like hearing all the voices that I've heard in my own head over the years, over the last 15 years. Being back in the room and say, "Oh yeah, I remember when I dealt with that. Oh, I remember when I was laying up in bed struggling with that. I remember when I was sitting on the job, depressed and disappointed in what I was doing or how I was utilizing my time.
Hmm.
I remember like all of those moments in my life, and for me, it's like, oh, it's familiar, but it's still refreshing for me to see and hear others who are at those different stages in their journey,
Yeah.
right? It's confirmation for me that, man, the work that I did do on myself is actually bringing value to people in everyday life, which at the end of the day, it isn't about me, but it's about putting the gift out there. So it's extremely comforting, even though there's a little bit of a disconnect, because I don't feel like I'm in that place anymore.
Hmm.
So I'm constantly seeking and searching for leaders who can help me still fill in the blind spots that I have.
Yeah.
Right, I still got a long way to go in order to be and really fully expand into the person that I'm becoming. And it's just taking the steps day by day. Fortunately, there's those that are in the room now with me that are leading, that are guiding, that are living out their lives with a little more purpose each day. And that to me, the whole system is built on simple structures and easy wins, right?
Hmm.
Simple structures and easy wins, and it's set up. Hey, if you show up, it's a simple structure in your day. Just show up to this a little bit, and by showing up, you're showing up for yourself. So you get a simple structure and an easy win. And
Yeah.
people are starting to get a little addicted to that, right?
Yeah.
The dopamine hits. It's like, oh man, I gotta win, and then we celebrate our wins every day. Man, you don't have time for negative thoughts if you're focused on your wins. What small wins did I have today? Because I gotta report something,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I gotta show up, because if nothing else, I get that win of showing up. So now it's extremely comforting seeing the change and transformation. This happens in a few days, in a week, right? The people have been with me for 3 weeks, and they're creating new businesses. They're starting new education programs. They're writing books. They're, oh man, just so much is coming out of it. I'm inspired every day. And the beautiful part about the room is that we're also making connections with others, as you
Hmm.
mentioned, right? Is there? I'm not everybody's accountability partner. There's no way that I could do that. I don't have enough hours in the day.
Right.
But being able to leverage, 5, 10, 20 other people who all with extremely wonderful gifts, just like everybody else on this planet, stepping up and saying, oh, you know what? I can offer support in that room. Oh, you know what? Hey, I'm in that area too. Let's link up. And the connections are made offline. I hear about them in the room. Oh, yeah, so and so held me accountable. They called me up and said, What are you doing? And it helped me shift my day. I'm saying, man, it's great that somebody was there for you. Where would you all be without a space to come to in order to do that? So just looking to create as many spaces as possible.
Man, so powerful to hear the story, so powerful to hear the journey. I want to ask you, people are thinking, well, I'm not an entrepreneur. It sounds really great. It sounds really cool. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a creative. Can something like this work for me in my space?
That's a great question. That is a great question, and it reminds me of one of our members, Mark. Mark is a special needs instructor. He works with students and with behavior issues down in the South, in Texas. And just the other day, one of his students actually asked him, "Man, Mr. Jeffrey, when you are you a life coach? Are you doing this kind of thing? This, you're giving us all this information, and I need somebody like that in my life."
Mm-hmm.
And for him, it never occurred to him that he had that gift, that he could be someone. He's been stepping up. There was a day that I missed, and he ran the whole call, and I'm just like, that's what I see, right? That's what's already in you. You're stepping up to it and do it naturally. That's why I love educators. I know we will talk about that, but I'm looking to reach out to educators because they already have it down. It's just a matter of putting the habit to work for them. So for those who don't see themselves, I say everything I do is for creative entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and entrepreneurs, right? Even if you're not a preneur,
Yeah.
you have a gift in you. And in this day and age, in this new global economy where you literally have access to platforms where you can put your gift out there in so many different ways. There's a woman over there who's knitting scarves every day in our 45-minute calls. She knits a scarf every day, right?
Wow.
And there's a sister up in Anchorage, Alaska, who, hey, they could probably use some scars. But she's talking about putting together her own accountability group because as she started to do accountability, the people in her community are reaching out to her. But hey, can we get something started like that here?
Wow.
Um, so it's not just for entrepreneurs, literally for anyone who wants to just take ownership, take control of their life again. Right. That's who we're reaching out to. If you're looking to take control of your life, if you've been, beating your head or you stuck in a job or you have this great idea, but you don't know how to get started, we've got the people in the room from all different backgrounds who want to help you move forward because, hey, when you're winning in the room, that's just more wins to go around for everybody. It creates a winning environment, a winning culture. And when you recognize, man, I've been winning, I just haven't been focusing on those things, right? There's some of us who,
Yeah.
and I was extremely guilty of this, being self-critical, right?
Yeah.
So critical of and looking for how to fill in what I felt was deficient instead of saying, okay, what is it that I do well? Instead, just shifting the whole bottle. What is it that I do well, and how can I do more and more and more of that each and every day? So it's man, it's a great space for me, and I'm looking to create more and more spaces for others as you ask. I don't know if that answered. I can get off
Yeah. Yeah.
off topic a little bit, but
It's good. We had Greg Mitchell chime in on LinkedIn. Greg says this is a great topic. I've had people who report to me that don't see
oh
the
man,
greatness in themselves. I see it as their manager, but getting them to see it is a challenge. Any advice
oh
for
man, Greg.
leaders and managers in this space?
I'm so glad that he brought that up because that is literally the next. Well, once we get established, I think we got to take things one day, one step at a time. But Greg, I would say that's precisely where I imagine taking this. Right, it starts in the home with people individually, but it goes into your life. Right, if your job is a part of your life, we can help you to create an accountability system to run in your business. Right, and if it's really just a 15-minute check-in to with your team to say, hey, what's going well in your life? What do you need accountability with? Literally just asking the question, what do you need accountability with? And what are some wins that you've had? Right? Having them come in and say, you know what, this person cares about me, they care about my life. But it's really just breaching and starting the conversation and having something to look forward to, knowing that, hey man, I got to show up with something to do.
Hmm.
on me. I got to show up with something to do for me first. The job will take care of itself. I'll perform better in the job if I'm taking care of me at home. I'll perform
Yeah.
better in the job if I'm taking care of my family. I'll perform better in my job if I'm connected to my faith. Um, and I've been there too, seeing the greatness in others and saying, man, how can I put them in position to really win and see it in themselves? I think this is not think I truly believe that this is a solution that can go anywhere. Institutions, government agencies. I know they talk about accountability in government. I was just reading some articles recently, like it has this idea. I said, nah, we gonna take it a whole different direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's abiding by the rules and laws, but really digging into, people as a society. How are we building and designing and structuring for them to be at the center focus, the same way we make students the central focus, or should make students the center of focus in education. In accountability, how do we make the person, the individual, the center of their focus, and how does that work with all of the other systems, structures, businesses, institutions, etc., that we create around that? So great question, Greg.
Man, it's awesome hearing your engineering mind and perspective being applied to coaching and accountability. And this is the part of Courageous Conversations Live that I call the shameless plug.
Oh
I call it
man.
the shameless plug. What we're here for is to give people an opportunity to connect with you, to work with you, to partner with you, to click on your profile on LinkedIn, to go on your link tree. Specifically at this stage of what you're doing, what you're building, who do you want to reach out to you and connect with you?
Appreciate that. So, I would say guys like Greg right there. Guys like Greg, first and foremost, if you're in a manager position, a leadership position, you have a small team. We're working right now with a model that serves about 15 to 25, right? And I want to be very, very specific about that, because as we work to scale it, we need to do things a little differently, right? That's another thing that engineering has taught me. So, if you've got a small team, even if it's just a small executive team or leadership team, or we'd be happy to come in and show you a way to just do some basic accountability, right? Still building out, but I don't want to stretch myself further than I can serve today.
Hmm.
Um, but additionally, looking for educators, because more than anything, I want to work with educators who have an impact on the next generations, period, right? And when educators shift the model of how they show up every day, they have an impact that can be giant gigantic across this country, right? Across the world, really. We got people logging in from China to Australia to Jamaica to all the way up in Alaska. So that's been fun,
Hmm.
being able to connect with people around the world. But yeah, primarily in entrepreneurs, those in leadership positions with small teams, where they want to not get more out of them, but want to help bring the greatness that's out of them, as Greg talked about. And then educators, who are waking up every day, who have structure, who building curriculum, who are serving and pouring their all into the next generation. Man, I want to give something back to you, right? I know that you had great dreams, that you have ideas, that you have ways to that you want to see change happen, but it's got to start with you, right? That we're going away from just doing what you say or doing what you're told, and really modeling it. How you show up every day is going to create the life and lifestyle that you have. So, one of the things that kept me from going into education, my mother's a career educator, right? One of the things that kept me away from education for so long was because I didn't see that the culture, the society valued it, right? The way
Hmm.
educators are treated, how they're compensated. I'm
Yeah.
saying, how am I going to build a future modeling and doing the same thing that they've done with educators for years and years and years? With virtual, we have an opportunity, with and have an opportunity now to really transform, to reform, to do education a lot differently, to make it a lot more customizable, to give some more options, to make it more accessible to students from all different backgrounds and demographics, and to provide solutions for continuing education beyond grade school, beyond college. Because, like I said, there's no curriculum for life.
Hmm.
Nobody
Yeah.
has that written out. Uh,
Yeah.
but at the foundation of it, it's what you do every day, right? Who you become
Hmm.
is the majority of what you do every day, and that's what accountability system is all about. That's your new curriculum. is build good habits and show up every day to do it. I think everything else will take care of itself from there. So
Man, build good habits, show up every day, and do it. I think that's the perfect place to end our conversation. We got the link tree right below your box there on our screen. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, go ahead and check out Bakar Bey on LinkedIn and start that conversation. If not, hit the link tree up, see all the links there, reach out and get connected. And even if you're saying, I'm not in a place yet where I'm looking to build a system for my team, even the introduction conversation about what it's going to take to heighten the accountability in your organization is going to be a game changer for you and for your team. So I want to thank you in advance, Bakar. I know people are going to reach out. I know they're going to get connected. I know some are even going to mention that they saw you on Courageous Conversations live. So I want to thank you in advance for the partnerships and the breakthroughs that will happen as a result of people reaching out to you. And thank you for being my guest today.
absolutely. Oh, thank you for the invitation. And also, Pierre, if there's anything that I could do in order to, you let me know. Who do I need to tell about you? Because that's one thing that I love doing. Who do I
Absolutely.
need to tell about you? Who do I need to put in front of this courageous conversations?
Yeah, man. We are definitely with Courageous Conversations Live. We are definitely focused on leaders that need to take some time out, especially with what you're doing in coaching. Take some time out. Let's look at what my strengths are. Take some time out and look at my contribution to my
Hmm.
personal and professional community, and take some time out and analyze my relationships. And how can we help leaders in all three of those areas level up? So that's what Courageous Conversations Live is all about. That's why you were
Awesome.
a guest today. And
Thank
as
you.
Greg says, his quote of the day, there is no curriculum for life. So your accountability becomes your new curriculum. Yeah, man. Good stuff today. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Have a great one.
Yeah. We'll talk soon, man.
Definitely.